Today's episode is sponsored by Dragon's Den, Games and Hobbies. You can visit them at 552 Main Street in Honesdale, PA, or call them at 570-647-4633.
The Dragon's Den, where gamers unite. Vice the owner in Honesdale under neon lights. Video games, board games, cards at every site. A haven for all, where fun takes flight. Come join the quest in this gaming paradise, where dragons roam free under endless skies. Adventure awaits with every roll of the dice. In Dragon's Den, where the magic never dies. From retro classics to the latest trend, dive into battles with allies and friends. Strategize your moves till the very end. In this realm of games, the fun never ends. Gather round for events galore, a place of joy like never before. Come join the quest in this gaming paradise, where dragons roam free under endless skies. Adventure awaits with every roll of the dice. In Dragon's Den, where the magic never dies. Unleashing the hive, metal tools will be waiting. Join us on the journey, gaming is engaging. NDT Gaming, our mission never raging. From pixels to dice, we discuss it all. The thrill of victory, the bitterest defeats fall. Strategies, campaigns, and characters stand tall. I look for the games, both big and small. Through big souls and cards, our friendship will sprawl. Join us on the journey, gaming is engaging. NET Gaming, our mission never raging. Malaysian. From pixels to dice, we discuss it all. The thrill of victory, the bitterest defeat fall. Strategies, campaigns, and characters dance all.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NDT Gaming. Alongside me, Corey, is my good reversed camera buddy, Mike from Dragon's Den. What's up, my dude?
Living the dream. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So, as you know, I've been playing that Path of Titans game, first experience, MMO, online thing. Kind of crazy. And I love it. I love it. I'm like addicted to this game. This is like the only game I play right now. It's ridiculous. We were talking a little bit before the show, though, about MMOs and how you're not really a huge fan of them. Why are you not a huge fan of MMOs? What is it about them?
I guess because I had a really bad experience with WoW and like a couple of the other ones where it's like every time I got in with people that like took the game way too seriously. And for me, that was just like a very big, I don't want to say like turn off with the game where it's like, okay, I sat on this waiting for these guys to log in. So I went onto the bottom of this hill and there's all these like crocodiles down there that you can, I guess it's called farming.
Yeah.
You just kill a bunch of them. Well, that's all I was doing. I was just going down there and just being my normal ADHD ridden self and just going down there. And I got a bunch of like purple and blue items and all that stuff. And they started screaming at me that wasn't fair. And I said, well, yeah, it is. It's just that. And then I guess I wasn't taking the role seriously. It was like a need or greed system. I couldn't figure it out. So I apparently ruined a quest for everyone. And I was like, wow, sorry. So after that, I just kind of was solo RPG and just stuck to Final Fantasy and just like Fire Emblems and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've always been into the single player games myself, playing something that's got a great story to tell, great graphics. Yeah. As I got older, I really started to appreciate and respect the graphics and have that be part of the reason why I wanted to play a game. Like when I was younger, I didn't really care. Like, you know what we grew up with? Final Fantasy VII, my favorite game ever. It's so blocky and crazy, but back then it was cool.
But
good
graphics does not mean good game.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. It was like today I like to play a game that's got some great graphics, but that's not going to be the be all end all. Like there's plenty of games from back then that were so much fun to play and could still tell a good story without having to deal with fancy graphics and all that. But yeah.
Well, a big part of it now is a lot of kids are getting wise to the whole, like, just because the game looks pretty and just because it's entertaining or whatever, doesn't mean it's worth picking up right now. I mean, Ubisoft right now can't be any worse than sure can.
Yeah.
I get a better type of game that pay to be better game. Agreed. But it's like a lot of them are learning with Assassin's Creed right now and a few other ones that Ubisoft is starting to be like, oh, wait a minute, people don't want to rent video games. People want to buy to own, and like games went up to $70. I mean, I have this old flyer I post every once in a while on my Facebook page that I don't know if you remember, there were certain Super Nintendo and PlayStation games that were like $50-$60. And that was like 1993. So that was like ridiculous for those times. You know what I mean? But we still got them and everything because that was like the only game that was coming out that was like, well, it's this or nothing. So figure out if you want it or not. And that's where a lot of people, I think, are kind of not getting out of video games, but kind of looking around and being like, okay, what else is there?
Yeah.
Go back to, Far Cry 3 or Fallout 3 for the 106th time, or go do this for 109 more times, go another WoW dive, and then you're tired of it. And I mean, I've seen a lot of people wander in for just like the D&D section of my store and being like, okay, what is it? Go ahead. Go on, King of the Nerd. Tell me what this is. And I was like, well, it's whatever story you want to make of it. And that's what makes it such a great and popular game. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Your story is different from my story. I have 5 D&D games going on in my store. 5, like every day, like this week, I have 5. Monday through, I want to say Friday, there's 5 going on.
5 each day, or just 5 in total throughout the week?
5 in total, like 1 each night.
Okay, 1 each night. Yeah.
I don't want people talking over each other, so I just kind of made it spread out. And it's 5 different stories. Basically the same, like, I guess you could say, like the same chemistry, the same, whatever it is. But everything's done differently, and that's fascinating. That you pick up a $50 book, you pick up this, and you're ready to go, and you could tell whatever story you want. It doesn't have to be I have the junior league that comes in and says, are we doing this right? I said, well, are you having fun? Is everybody doing it great? And they're like, yeah, then you're doing it right. I don't, there is no wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I won a lot of, I say we win hearts and minds with the whole bring back the family game night. Like I was talking to you about that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're looking to do something where, the one mom came in, she's like, I'm sick of everybody staring at their phones on the couch. She's like, this isn't right. Let's go actually do something or talk to each other. And we put on Netflix, and she's like, I stream through Netflix. By the way, they're raising the rates again.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, catch that again. So
because they can. It probably has something to do with WWE, but
probably.
We'll leave that be
like, we did the gauntlet run of, we looked through everything, and they're like, there's nothing here that's, they don't want to watch Bridget Jones's Diary or anything else like that.
If they're anything like my wife, then they spend about 45 minutes to an hour looking for something to watch and then deciding not to watch anything. And sometimes I swear we look more than we actually watch. It's ridiculous.
Wasn't that the Blockbuster effect?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just going through the titles, going through this and going through that, and everybody just like, and she's like, okay, she came down here and she's like, I don't know what else to do. And I said, Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know, try it. What's the worst that happens? And she's like, can't be any worse than, this. And their family gets together and they play. I think it's like every Wednesday night they go home, and after dinner, everybody sits around the dinner table and she pulls out the D&D stuff and they play. And I said, well, there you go.
Yeah. Chris says, I hate games that cap your grinding until you progress the storyline sometimes. I used to like grinding and then blowing through the fighting parts. Yeah. That's how I was with Final Fantasy games, man. I was over prepared.
But yeah, so interested coming in looking for D&D stuff.
Yes, I was gonna say, because like we could talk a little bit about D&D and get away from the video games for a little bit, because we did talk about that.
It's in my song.
Yes, I like the idea of taking back game night and doing something together as a family. And And, you know, I talked to Alex about that, and I think it's something we want to do here in the future, in the near future. So, what do you tell people that are just getting into it? Like I told you the last time we talked, the thing that kept me away from the idea of doing this is because, you know, I always hear that it's very time consuming and that these campaigns can go on forever. So for someone that's new, someone that's concerned with stuff like that, what is it that you would tell them to get them wanting to get involved in this?
It can. Like I told you before, you said this can go on forever. You can make hour campaigns, you can make one shots, you can make it last 6 years if you wanted to. I have one of the guys that play in my store. He's been playing the same campaign with his friends. I'm just the place he plays. He's been playing since like 2002 with the same group. It's just different, you know, campaigns and everything. You can make it whatever you want. It's your blank canvas. You paint your story. You paint your, you know, tell what you want to say. You don't have to do just because the module said we're going to go fight a dragon. You don't have to do any of that. You could do whatever you want, when you want, as much as you want. Nobody's going to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sell multiple campaigns. I sell a bunch of everything. I have different modules. I have starter kits that are like $20 when we come in. And a lot of people are like, okay, it was okay. It's about what we expected it to be. And the kids kind of were like mildly interested. And I said, well, you got to put a little bit of enthusiasm behind it. Nobody's expecting you to, you know, throw a cloak on and nerd it out and go LARPing.
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting that. But I mean, don't read it like a college professor reads a book. That's just, nobody wants to hear that. You're not having fun with it. And there's so many modules now with it. I mean, you can do, you know, you're a big fan of like, you know, going into horror right now. There's Call of Cthulhu. You can do Dragon Age has one. A lot of video games have one. Dark Souls came out with one. Elden Ring has one you could base in that world. There's ones for like Alien, the movie. You know, there's ones for steampunk. There's ones for whatever, literally whatever makes you happy.
So
Whatever
there's like there's like a little guidebook for different stories and different ideas for campaigns. If you're someone who is like, all right, well, I can't come up with a story. If I'm the dungeon master, I can't really walk us through this. My imagination's not that great. They do have ways to help you out with that. Yeah.
I have an entire wall to help the DM out with, like, you know, the one story, it's written by DMs for DMs is the one book, and it's world building by Kobold Press, and they're amazing. And like Nord Games has one in the back of all their books. It's like, okay, you're lost in your own story. So you hit a rut. You don't know where to go. What do I do? You know, this is my first time DMing. Everybody has a day one. Not everybody's been playing since 1997. How do I fix this? How do I go about something better? You know, everybody is just tired. My kids are sitting there staring at their phones. I feel like I lost their interest. And that's where a lot of these books are pretty amazing. I have one that's over there that's called How to Write Adventure Modules That Don't Suck. And that's incredible to kind of have, like, you know, that. I've been running Nightfell. It's, you know, it's one of those stories where they're like, you don't have to do anything in this book, but this is just some ideas, you know.
So you were I'm sorry to cut you off, but you were talking about this Nightfell to me before we started, back when we were in pre-show. And from the sound of it, it sounds like it's an intense, kind of like insane run for people who are a little bit bored or they're seasoned veterans with Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, I ran 3 campaigns with it, and not one person's complained about it.
That's awesome.
And it's one of those things where people are like, they see it and they hear like third party, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's not good. And it's like, no, it just doesn't have the AAA guy behind them, which in my opinion makes it better. It's, here's the story, here's the spreadsheet, use it if you want to, use your guidelines. Go ahead, use it if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. If you want to go and, you know, up this way, you can. I play it with the moon. And it sounds kind of crazy to say that, but when the moon goes, like, you know, is out, and it's like light in the world of darkness, light is what's keeping evil at bay. Well, the moon's not always out, or the moon goes behind clouds. All of a sudden, these enemies become stronger. And then enemies can go up 5 levels, and it's kind of crazy. It's like you can either try to lock yourself away somewhere and try to, like, okay, well, they're kicking down the door pretty hard now. What do you guys want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's got a really gorgeous cover. I mean, look at that thing.
That does look really cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And it's 5e compatible, which means like it can play with like, let's say you bought like the newest edition of like Dungeons and Dragons. It will work with that. It doesn't have to be like its own separate thing. If you want it to be, go ahead. It's just one of those companies where it's like it's a $40 book, you know what I mean? Where it's like for $40, you just bought a whole world of entertainment instead of dumping $70 on the new Assassin's Creed or whatever else that's coming out. That's going to be like, and it's like the last 6 I played and the last ones I'm doing this. Now, keep in mind, the story is only as good as the person telling it. I mean, we even offer, like, we have people that will teach you how to DM. We have a whole system here where I can sit down with, give you 2 people right off the bat that are incredible at storytelling. I mean, that's what it is. You can't read from the book and sound, like I said, a college professor, or you're going to lose your audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how it is. D&D has made quite the comeback right after like Stranger Things came out and after like everything else that's been big with it. You know, Critical Role did incredible things with it, with Matt Mercer and all that stuff. And people being like, well, it's not just the nerdy kids in the cafeteria rolling dice on the table, you know, anymore. And it's like, no, it is, but it's just fun to play. And you just didn't know that at the time. So, you know what I mean? Like it's incredible to watch that and watch. It's fun watching new people find this game and being like, this is incredible. This is so much fun. Like, you know, listen to her, like where the kids are excited to come home on Wednesday night after spaghetti night and be like, spaghetti and D&D. I was like, I kind of wanted to invite in, but you know, but you know, it's cool to see them come in and be like, you know, oh, we're going to pick a new adventure tonight. Dad's going to go down to, you know, we're going to do Curse of Strahd and we're going to, you know, Ravenloft and we're going to go do this tonight. I'm like, sounds great, you know?
Yeah. So for someone like me and my family, it's nice. It's nice to know that, you know, we can just use our imaginations, be creative, come up with our own story, our own characters, our own monsters and whatnot. First off, they do have like guidebooks on the creatures and monsters and all that. Yeah. To help you out with that.
Oh yeah.
Like gives you the stats, the attacks, the defenses, all that stuff.
100%.
And then, as it pertains to people who are looking to get into it, but they're nervous about maybe coming to find a group or they're a little, I don't want to say standoffish, but they're introverts. They don't really have the confidence to go out there and do it. Are there both kinds of groups when it comes to D&D players? Like the people who, you know, really want to be into it, they want to do it by the book and make sure everything's right. And then there's also, like, if there were people to come down to your store, they're gonna find a group that's casual, laid back. They don't really care as much. They're just there to have fun. It doesn't need to be strict and by the book. Like they can find all sorts, right? They can find the right
100%.
game for them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's people that are like, rules are rules. That's why we wrote them, so you can follow them to a T. You know, some people may pick up, you know, this book and go, well, that's just guidelines. And they're like, well, you want to go play that moon scenario? Go ahead. Nobody's making you. Nobody says like, nobody's going to kick down your front door and drag you out and, you know, kicking and screaming because, you know, you didn't play the game the right way. But a lot of people are like, well, the rules say this, or people do play D&D to the point of like carry weight, weapon speed. You know, if you have night vision, you can only see so far. Your movement is 5 and measuring out like the spaces on the board and stuff like that. I mean, there's everything from Pathfinder to like actual Dungeons and Dragons. Like I said, there's 100,000 different, you know, like I said, Dark Souls just came out with a book that was stupid fun. It was hard and you are going to die quite a bit. And they made miniatures for it. It's incredible. When you first open the page, the first book thing is you are dead. And you will, but that's like people who want that challenge, embrace it, go for it. If you guys wanted to play for the first time, I get in all the time starter kits that are like just hey, here's some pre-made character sheets. Here's a little adventure. Here's some dice. Try it. Okay, you want to go further? Here, let's go down the rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people, like I said, I have a room full of introverts at any given time where they were like, I'm kind of nervous to, you know, go down this road. There's even rumor mill that like they were talking about Silent Hill coming out with like an RPG kind of style book. And I'm kind of super excited for that. That's going to be incredible. I mean, Dragon Age did one. I mean, even, do you remember, what was the movie with, Harrison Ford and the robotics, all that stuff.
Harrison Ford and the robotics.
Cyborgs and all that. I want to say they're cybernetic or whatever their other was.
That wasn't Million Dollar Man.
Blade Runner.
Like, Blade Runner. Yeah. I don't know much about.
There's
Harrison
a Blade
Ford.
Runner RPG that's out. There's a one for, like I said, Call of Cthulhu. Pick your flavor, you can do it. There's Starfinder that's going off into space and doing alien kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's neat.
And I mean, that's where a lot of people kind of look at this and go, "Wow, there really is a book for almost everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell everybody."
So you'll be able to find your game, you'll be able to find your flavor and fit in and still have fun.
Corey, there's dinosaurs.
Yes. That's awesome. It's not just monsters and stuff. Yeah, I can do like a dinosaur campaign.
You 100% could.
That's cool. Wherever my imagination can take me. So, what have been some of your favorite campaigns that you've done with people?
I do a lot of homebrew, which is kind of make your own. I mean, I've done like the Curse of Strahd runs. We've done the generic like Seaside Isle ones where it's like the one where it starts off with and it's like you're gonna escort the dwarves to their mine taken over by goblins and then it just expands from there and all that stuff. And for me, it's like, I guess it's because I've been here for so long. It's like seen a million places, seen it the same thing over and over again. Halloween, they did the Curse of Strahd run 5 times in one day. And I was like going along with the DM reading out of the books, like lipping, like, and again, we're going through this path and the fog rolls in and the cart. And I was like, please, God, there's got to be something better out there. Like I said, I do my own ones. I've done ones where you've accidentally kind of eaten poison and you have literally an hour to find the antidote. I kind of borrowed this idea from this one who does it in, she does a whole campaign down in Florida where she actually has the player sit at a table. You and your like family sit down at this table and there's a bowl of fruit on the table. And she's like, if you guys are hungry, eat at it. And while she's telling the story, and eventually people do pick up like grapes or they'll pick up an orange or the apples. She had like a lot of apples and like everybody ate some. And she's like, well, now you poor souls have an hour to find the antidote before this kills you. And she was kind of like laughing. And the one guy like spit it out and was like, did you really poison us? He's like, no, honey, I didn't really poison you. It's for the story. Like, that's homicide. No, that's the thing. And I kind of did something similar with that, where I left out like a big cake for the thing. And I kind of did the same thing here where I was like, congratulations, you poor souls. Now you have an hour. Let's go do this. And they all kind of just sat there and like, wait, are you serious? I'm like, you've already wasted 10 minutes asking me if I'm serious. Like in the game, yes, go, come on, we got to go. And they ended up not making it. So I thought that was kind of fun. I had one group that did, one group that didn't. So that was kind of fun. Really, I just like to borrow from like the reference books, and there's always new ones coming out where it's like, ooh, we're doing, like Egyptian theme. That was kind of cool, where it's like mummies are coming back and you kind of have to find, as stereotype as it is, go find the amulet of whatever to kind of bring them, put them back to sleep, or don't. Nobody says you have to. Oh, we got to the end where the one, she picked up the one little piece of like you need to put into the tray, put into the coffin or sarcophagus to end it all. And she's like, can I just keep this? And I said, nobody says you can't. And that was kind of fun, where she's like literally screwed the entire party up for doing that. That was a great one. Oh, I got 100 of them. I mean, you guys should come down and play sometime.
I might try to bring the kids down and have them watch one day, just to see if I can pique their interest. So again, I don't know the rules. I don't know how everything works, but Dungeon Master does not have a player on the board, right? Dungeon Master just controls everything, right?
It's your game.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure of that first.
I mean, you very easily could if you really wanted. I mean, traditionally, no. It's your god. You're telling the story of this, what you're doing, and you're kind of nudging people along onto the journey of doing this, kind of whatever you want to do. I mean, the funny part of always being a DM is you'll spend 3 days writing a story and they'll ruin it in 2 hours and you're like 20 minutes and you're like, well, crap, that spent 3 days wasted for this. And
well, it seems like that's the type that's like really fun, where people don't really care so much about the rules. They just want to have a good time with their friends and whatnot. And I feel like I can really appreciate that. Like I've heard a lot of crazy stories with this stuff. Like I've seen clips and videos here and there of the kind of things that people do. Um,
What was
like
the new one that just
I,
came out?
I almost feel like there's some adult content D&D games that go on out there because there's some crazy stuff that I've read and seen.
Yeah. Oh, you know, The Witcher. We've been talking about The Witcher before.
Yeah.
He's got a D&D book.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Nice.
You can
That's
go to
pretty
his
cool how
world.
they do that. I like that.
Well, they know what sells, and the guy who wrote the D&D book also wrote the stories. So, I mean, it was kind of fun to see that whole mishmash together.
What year was this game invented? Do you know?
1978, 78, 79. I mean, for a game that came out in the 70s, and with the world of video games and virtual reality and everything else and mass MMOs and all that stuff, like it's still alive.
It's just ever evolving. There's just so much that you can do. It's just based on your imagination.
Well, that's where, like I said before, they're like, am I doing it right? Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, you're doing it right or whatever. I mean, like you could find your group that's like, oh, we're the guidelines, the rules say this, the rules say that. But if that's your group and that's what everybody agrees upon, great. Follow the rules then. Nobody says you have to.
I feel like D&D is also like where it all started when it comes to fantasy monsters.
100%.
For fantasy video games, for fantasy anime. I feel like all the basic monsters that you see in all of this just comes and it's derived from D&D.
100%.
It's like the godfather of all of it.
Tolkien writing the Hobbit and everything else, and I mean that was a big, was it Arya Salvatore writing the books, or it's what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean it all starts with like a lot of the time when I was working, other places, I actually got to talk to some guys from Dragon Age who said at the office they play every it was like a Wednesday or Tuesday night. They come in from the office, everybody sits down and everybody plays D&D. I mean, of course, like inspiration comes from there because that's just story building. There's a lot of like companies that have actually adapted D&D to like team building skills. I said this is something that teaches kids like self-esteem. This teaches kids, team building, working together. It's not, you're not going to solo your way through it all. You're going to need help from everybody else in the party to get through it. There are some offices who have learned that like the manager meeting or the company picnic is boring. Here, let's grab some D&D books and pizza one night and everybody gathers around and it's like, what do you want to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you say that the original Final Fantasy for NES was like the video game version of D&D when it came out? We're talking about all these different ideas for stories and all these different games and shows and movies and stuff that have their own story for D&D. I think doing a D&D campaign based off of the original Final Fantasy game would be fun as hell.
Oh, 100% would be. Absolutely would be.
Like that sounds like a lot of fun.
Actually, I have some good news for you.
Yes.
Final Fantasy is writing an RPG book.
Yeah, but is it gonna be based off of one of their games, or are they gonna do their own Final Fantasy D&D?
Their own little this ain't like based in the world of 7 or 14 or whatever. It is Onion Knights to Crystal, like the things. It's if you want to play a dragoon, go be a dragoon. If you want to be a mage, go be a mage. And Sweet. It's going to be that old school, warriors of light going to defeat evil and restore the crystals and all this.
That's awesome, because I think that's what I would try to do for an initial story, just because I know it. I know the original game. I know how it goes. I know the monsters in it. Hell, if I wanted to, I could probably grab a bestiary from the original Final Fantasy off the internet and use that.
Haven't you ever thought, what if this happened?
Yes.
You played 7 to death. You already know the story. You already know how this ends. You know that Sephiroth is defeated, the world is saved. The greatness that is. You know what I mean?
What if Aerith isn't killed and they can't use white materia? What if
Cloud actually killed her and he's got to live with that. What if it's one of those things where instead of her dying, it was Tifa that dies? What if it's like, what if Cecil never, figured out he was going to be a paladin and became, that state of Dark Knight? What if this? I mean, you could play that.
That's neat. Endless opportunities for new and exciting stories in the world of D&D.
Well, that's where gaming came from. I mean, you got to think back to its roots. I mean, it was just, what is a video game but an interactive story? And sometimes
so you talked about how you could write a story for days and then someone ruins it so quick. What's the weirdest way someone's ever ruined a story that you've done?
Really weird. It was just more or less of a one I could think of is like basically my wife likes to play the cat effect of like, let me knock the coffee mug off the table. And it was like the one guy was in this temple and explaining that this like artifact is like very valuable and precious to them. And it's what's holding the universe together. And, for thousands of years it is staying guarded. And she snuck away, rolled a nat 20 and knocked it off the table and broke it. And I was just kind of like, she's like, well, what happens? I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's ever done this before. So it's like,
so now you got to come up with a new part of the story on the spot to explain everything.
Spot, you are just like, oh crap. And I'm like, well, it goes to infinite darkness right now. And she's like, ooh, darkness is pretty. I can see all the stars. And I'm like, yeah, well, not for eternity. You can't. Like, we got to go fix this thing. And she's like, I steal pieces of it. I'm like, you're not going to steal pieces of it. Like, that's the fun of it, And I was like, all right, well, the world is now forever in darkness thanks to this one.
Everything's going to die. There's no more food. There's no more sunlight. There's no more humans. There's no more orcs. There's no more nothing. We're all dead. End of our universe. End of our story. On to the next.
Pretty much. And I was like, well, that's where it ends. Time to get everybody roll a new character sheet. Here we go. And I was like, thanks for.
So with the character sheets you're talking about, do you need to create a new character for every story? Every campaign that you do, you start with a new character?
I do. You don't have to. You can bring, I mean, a lot of times it's DM discretion. Hey, I already have a level 5. Can I bring that person? Well, how overpowered is it? Or, this, or, hey, I really want to be this. You could play a campaign, get halfway through and just say, I tried a paladin. It sucks. I want to go back to being a thief rogue. Or I'm used to being warrior class and I played mage and I hate it. Can you just kill it all so I can have something different? Yeah. 100%.
And for most campaigns, most games, people are pretty strict on the rules for each character type and all that.
No.
Things they can do, things they can't do. Well, is it all in how you build the character?
It's all in every character is unique as the person making it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's DM discretion. And that's a big part of it, where it's like, I have books over there that have, even that Nightfell book, it's 4 more classes that you never heard of. And I think that's amazing, where it's like, hey, are you okay with me using this? I mean, I'm sick of playing elf rogue chaotic neutral. Can I please try this? And everybody's like, yeah, a lot of them. And they're like, I've never heard of it. What does it do? Okay, a new one that they just came out with was like Dragon Tamer, and that's like, it was part of like the Beast Masters part of it, where it's like you actually have to go off into the mountains and you can actually run a one shot with him and kind of be like, okay, you're going up and your tribe has told you to go tame a dragon. You're not coming back down until you get one. And you could be up there. I did a whole campaign with that where the kid was up there for like 3 good days and he's like, I'm trying. His rolls just were awful. And I was like, getting to the point, I'm like, just roll something better than a 5. Roll the 6. Good enough. Let's go. Come on. Holding up the story.
So it's nice to know that you have all kinds of stuff to help people out, getting them started with the game.
Well, yeah.
That's awesome. Anything they need. Good to know.
Well,
I'm gonna have to
for everyone.
Get down there eventually.
Soon. I don't know. Beats buying another copy of, like I said, another Call of Duty, another whatever. And
yeah, that kind of stuff. I don't get excited about Call of Duty, Fortnite, or any of those games anymore. Like I said, I've been playing that Path of Titans game. I enjoy that, but then with family game nights and stuff, like my wife is wanting to do board games and stuff from time to time, but I can only play Uno so much, and regular board games, I hate them. I get so bored so quickly. I'm not interested.
I mean, that's the thing. There's a bigger world out there than just Monopoly and Catan. I mean, Catan's a wonderful game. It's fantastic, but there is such a bigger world out there than just, the evergreens. There is a game for everyone, and I thoroughly believe that.
Yeah.
You just haven't found it yet. Like what's his face was saying before, like he loves MMOs and going on and playing with his friends. That's his game.
Yeah.
Nothing brings him, people better than like when, I remember Halo nights as a kid going off and going, playing Halo or playing Call of Duty or playing whatever, or playing just, it could be whatever it wants. It could be, as simple nights of going back to playing, was it Call of Duty? And what was the other thing before Call of Duty? Medal of Honor and stuff like that with our friend's house. Or, I have groups that come in and their biggest game that they absolutely love is like, I always said the sleepover is the lost art when we were kids of like Mario Kart, GoldenEye, Ninja Turtles, going back to playing, was it Smash Brothers now? Like, I mean, now these kids come in here and they pile in and they take the back TV and all I see is Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and everything else. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I said, these used to be like the sleepover games.
Yep.
And I got a copy of GoldenEye traded in, so I had to test run it. And it was like, man, it brought back like greasy pizza, Little Caesars nights and Mountain Dew, and that's what we did.
GoldenEye is crazy though, because it's like I tried it again recently. I think last year before. I can't remember when we plugged it in last, but we have it. And trying to play that game after being used to playing all these newer games where you have 2 sticks to control your character. Good Lord, trying to go back to using just one, analog stick to control your character is absurd.
You're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh crap. Cause then you got the little buttons on the side.
Yeah.
What is it? The C buttons or whatever, the little arrows. Oh, ridiculous. Such a fun game though.
One of my best friends lives in Colorado now, but like when we used to do Knights of the Old Republic, that was kind of like one of those things too, where, we recently did like an online D&D game. And I said, hey, you want to try? And he's like, yeah, why not? I got nothing else better going on. And he loved it. He's like, man, we should do this more. And I was like, I tried. You didn't want to play it.
So for people who can't always get to someone else's house or like a shop like yours to go play D&D, the online thing, how well does that work out? Like, how do you manage online D&D?
I mean, it's one of those things like you own the store. You want people to show up.
Yes.
You try not to. I mean, I say the options there. Obviously, everybody knows you can go play like Baldur's Gate with your friends. I think you can do that. I think I forget what the hell it's called. I don't know. I try not to push it so hard because it's one of those things where it's like,
well, like,
hey, don't eat here, go eat down the road. But
no. But what I'm saying is, like, if you have friends across the country,
D&D 1, I think it's what it's called. But you can all like log into this one thing and everybody can play online and like do a Skype mission, like we're doing right now. Like we could play right now and just have 4 panels and everybody wants to DM and play the game.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, can people do it through Discord? Like, have the actual physical stuff in front of them.
I have a lot of people come in. They're like, we got to play on Discord. But the DM wants us to go to the like local game stores, buy some dice and all that stuff, where you could download an app on your phone that rolls dice. But where the hell's the fun in that? It's like I press a button and rolled it. And I was like, no, that's not. Go buy a real set of dice for $6 and go throw it. You know what I mean? That's half the fun of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my question was going to be more along the lines of like, is it as enjoyable? Is it difficult? That kind of thing. But
everybody plays differently. It's one more time. Yeah. It may be enjoyable to you. It may be, you know what I mean? It picked up a lot during COVID when obviously we couldn't leave our houses for the quarantines and all that stuff, where a lot of people were like, okay, we're going to try this over Skype. And it worked really well. And everybody had a great time with it. And, that. And I mean, that's where Matt Mercer's whole group was like watching those, but those guys are voice actors. So that's incredible too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like watching people who did the voice of all the people from Skyrim and watching the people who did the voices of like Castlevania and all that stuff. Like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Let's say you are in the mood to play a Castlevania campaign. I have 3 books over there that can get you started with, you could go be at Belmont and go, beat the crap out of Dracula.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen. I think we're going to try it eventually here. It's nice to find out a little bit more about it, but I'm excited because When I was younger, I used to write all the time. I used to love writing. And I recently told the wife that I want to get back into that and have that extra outlet. So I think this is not only a fun thing to do as a game night, it's going to give me another hobby to do, something to get my creative juices flowing again. So I'm not just being a lazy bum doing absolutely nothing.
I'll let you be the dwarf.
Nice. All right.
Go ahead.
Wait. King of Sanity says, my screensaver is, oh, that's nice. That sounds like a really cool screensaver.
That's amazing.
Is there anything else that you wanted to hit on tonight?
Anything else you want to hit on? Well, I said the theme, like, what's our theme? Is it like Northeast PA Silent Hill or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was Silent Hill you wanted to touch on a little bit.
I believe they're going forward with a few new projects, so that's going to be really cool. I think that's kind of neat to hear. And I said, it's always fun for us in this area to talk about Silent Hill, considering Silent Hill is based in Centralia. And I mean, how far away is that? It's something like it's like an hour and a half drive down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably closer for you guys or wherever it is. But I mean, like that's,
Yeah. I'm kind of sad because they, didn't they cover up Graffiti Road down there? They covered that up and they made it difficult for anybody else to really go down there and look around and check things out.
Well, they covered it up and they do those things because everybody was just being stupid down there and like, here's my Instagram tag. Great. Who are you? Why should I care?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a little weird. Charlie, yeah, Mike has been trying to convince me to get into D&D for a family game night, and I think it's a good idea. So we decided to talk a little bit about D&D tonight and kind of hear the ins and outs and everything.
Get a group going with Charles down there and get it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just with like the family game night. It could be with just a group of your friends together who are looking for something other than just, I bring my friends over, everybody's just staring at their phones on the couch, and I'm like, this is great, but like, let's actually do something.
Yeah, like it's just, I'm just enjoying your company. I love sitting around doing nothing with you. You get me.
I do. But I mean, there was talk of that there is like a Silent Hill like RPG book coming out, and I'm kind of excited for that one where it's like, like Northeast PA, nobody ever really leaves Silent Hill. And I've been playing one again.
Definitely, Charlie. You've been playing the first Silent Hill guide. Is that the post that I saw you put up on Facebook the other day? You said something about it. Yeah.
Nobody ever leaves Silent Hill, Corey.
Nobody
leaves Northeast PA. You come back eventually. But no, they were talking about like the new RPG books. I have to see if I can grab a PHB. The hell's a PHB?
Player handbook.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get everything from Mike. So tax season's upon us. I might have a little extra money.
Run specials all the time on books and stuff and dice, or buy one get one half off and everything else. Yes, I will shamelessly promote that. And
shameless, promote the hell out of it.
Promote the hell out of it. Those are usually like I run specials on this stuff all the time, and I usually help everybody out.
Yeah.
This game is meant to be enjoyed by everybody, and if you got to take $10 off a book to make somebody, help them out, then so be it. It's about building the community, building the empire, not worrying about,
That's why you shop at small businesses, guys. That's why you support your small businesses right there, because they care about the community.
No, that's why you build a game store to care about the community.
Yep.
But the one I said with the really cool one is it'll be interesting to see, and no shame in your game, like hot. One of the really cool things, yeah, they did pave over it, and they were like, oh, this other things, they ruined it. But I said it's going to be kind of interesting to see, like, if it was like, if you're going to play that game, if you can almost bring, like, isn't Knoebels out that way too?
Knoebels is down in Ellisburg.
Isn't that like pretty close to where Centralia used to be?
Down by Danville. I don't know. I honestly don't know where Centralia is. I would assume near the center of PA. So yeah, kind of in that area, I guess.
I mean, even if it's like close, even do like a thing where it's like a cool road trip with your friends and like you're going off to go see Knoebels and the raccoon and whatever else that's down there. I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about. But like your friend takes a wrong turn and that's where you end up. And I said, that'd be cool to do like a, one of the campaign books down here. It's all about local cryptids. There was one it's about the local areas of different things. And I said, that'd be cool to do one with like Scranton and all that stuff and have like, you take the wrong turn. The road collapses behind you. Now you're stuck in this town and you can do it that kind of, you know what I mean? And we have the squonk, but that's really it. I mean, that thing It's a crying animal because it's ugly, but there's like better cryptids you can use.
I mean,
Do a gore
Bigfoot's
story
everywhere
about
in PA.
the dead coal mine stuff. Like, I mean, like it's really cool that I know people that are writing books for that kind of stuff where they're doing local areas where, you know, like the coal mine collapse of whatever it was. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like you can play to that story of like you guys going to do another stupid school trip and then to the coal mine tours again.
Yeah.
Because every kid in this area has done the coal mine tours to death and everybody's done it. And it's like you're stuck in there and have to get out. I mean, that's a really awesome idea. And I said when the people that are done making that are going to publish it, I said I will personally carry the books. And I don't mind supporting like local artists and supporting local towns to do that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's kind of neat to see like your hometown
cool.
of like, you know, like wherever it is. Like there was one that they got the idea from that like weird New Jersey, weird Pennsylvania book where it's like, you know, this whole area has got a ton of like everything from Gettysburg to whatever else is in there. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, we got to get with Aaron and have him write a D&D story about Gettysburg.
I could do it. Not that I don't trust Aaron, but I'll do it for him. If you guys want me to do a campaign on here for the one night, I will grab Aaron on here, grab somebody else. I can do a half an hour game real quick of making like, you know, see if I can get you guys all killed or something.
That's so nice of you. I would love to have no one else get me killed other than you, Mike.
I mean, I have books that are even based on like Nordic folklore. I have ones that are based on Italian folklore. I have ones that are like based on like Sweden, Norway, like all that are England, Scotland, Ireland, and even like Native American ones. Like you can have the Windy Boy come and walking around, you know. I mean, it's even like getting the miniatures is half the fun of this game, is buying, you know, little dragons, buying little dwarves and elves and painting your character. It's your character, it's your story, it's your guy. It's cool to see your, you know, what you created come to life and kind of doing its thing. And I mean, like I said, I know a lot of times we talk video games, but I mean, it's just one of those, I kind of wanted to do a little bit more because I'm starting to see a lot more video game RPG books where if you wanted to run Dark Souls, if you want to run Blade Runner, Alien, you want to do, you know, Ghost of a Haunted History, you can absolutely do that. That's amazing. And everybody's got something they like with that kind of stuff. There's a Jurassic Park one I know they're making that's like, you want to do dinosaurs, you want to be stuck in a Jurassic Park world, there you go.
That's cool.
You're cool.
Like that's a lot of work too, though, because I mean, if you're coming up with new enemies, you have to come up with all the details about them.
Well, luckily, there's a book for that. Look, there's a book for that. I actually order a lot of the smaller party ones, so you'll see like Nord. I actually just got the fun with them today. They're really cool guys. Like Nordic Games, all those people, Cobalt Press. Like it is not like the official Wizards of the Coast ones, which are great in their own right. I just like to support the smaller guy. I like to get the people who actually wrote the story, written by players for players, written by DMs for DMs. Where like I love the one book on the back. It says straight up, "Hey, so everybody's staring at your phones. How do I fix this?" Well, you're boring them. Make it not boring. Include everybody. There's ones where you can do ones where you wander into the forest, and if you need to kill 10 minutes, everybody's going to start rolling, and we're going to have a pie eating contest, or we're going to do something that's, you know, we're going to do a carnival. We found the dark carnival in the woods. We're going to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Is everybody laughing? Is everybody having a good time? Yeah, cool. Then you're doing it.
Good.
Hey, that was fun. Let's go do that again. Where it's just, you know, if you guys going to enjoy my, it's always the thing where, you know, MMOs and everything, all the games that came out today, Xbox, PC, whatever, traces back to storytelling. It traces back to Dungeons and Dragons. It traces back to, you know, it didn't start on, you know, it didn't just mysteriously wake up one day and, you know, there was video games. I mean, it had to come from somewhere. And like the biggest thing where it came from was Dungeons and Dragons is where it got its origin from. Before it was home consoles, it was arcades. Before everything, you got to remind the kids every once in a while where we came from. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are like, I don't get it. And I was like, use your imagination. Use that thing that, you know.
I think kids need that now more than ever.
I do think kids need that now more than ever. There's some class action lawsuit going around that I don't know if it's real or not. It looks kind of funny. And it's like, as your kid's addicted to video games, do you want to sue Xbox? And they're like, well, aren't you the parent that should be watching your kid and telling him not to stare at a screen for 12 hours a day? But
I can see that being a real thing. I really can. Like the world today, I can see a group of Karens just hell bent on ruining the video game companies.
do you want to sue Minecraft because I parked my kid in front of it for 12 hours a day because I don't want to feel like dealing with it? Like,
honestly.
But I mean, like I said, I encourage the family game nights. I love the fact that it's like, I said I have 2 family members that come in once a month and pick up a new board game. They love like or there's a new D&D book. You know what I mean? She's like,
yeah.
God help me, Michael. I've taken it back and I will. Like everybody's off their phones. Everybody's having fun. And I said, there you go. We won.
Yep. That's good.
I mean, you say if you post you have an open D&D game, I promise you just saw it now with Charles. You will have at least 4 or 5 people call you, text you, whatever, and be like, hey, you're doing an open game. Hey, can I get in on that? I really want to play. I really do want to get in on this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, we urge anybody and everybody that is listening, hanging out with us, watching this after the fact, get into it. Make sure you get down to Dragon's Den on Main Street in Honesdale. Go see Mike. He'll lead you in the right direction, get you the right stuff, get you set up, and have some fun with your friends, your family, whoever it might be. Right?
You're great, Corey.
You're great too, Mike. I appreciate you as always.
Can I
Anything
ask something?
else?
What's in the corner of your thing there? You got like the WWE belt. Yes, right there. What is that?
For katanas, fake one. Well, real ones, but not real ones.
Freaking.
Oh, you want to see them?
Yeah,
they're super cool.
Sword.
They're swords. I love swords.
I love swords too.
I used to have a sword collection when I was a bit younger, my early 20s, and then my wife got pregnant with our first, and she's like, "We can't have sharp objects around the house," so I sold all my swords. So my dad, he's always out antiquing. He's at yard sales and stuff. He buys up like estates and everything. So, or buys things from estates that, he can resell. He does the whole auctioneer thing. So he bought a batch of swords. He had like a whole bunch of them, and he let me go through them and grab a few. So this one's really neat. I love this one just for the handle. Dragon and a lady. And I like the blade on it. It's got the wavy temper.
I sat there for the longest time and I debated, should I sell swords? Should I do that kind of stuff? And you know what? We settled on the LARPing swords, so like the foam swords and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have sold like 50 cloaks in the last 3 months. It has been ridiculous down here with those.
That's awesome.
That's all you want.
These legitimately wouldn't do any real damage. They're really just decorations. So not real weapons or whatever, but I like them. It's like a wyvern. It's like a dragon. And it's got another little,
got arms.
Got another little lizard up underneath.
Well, he's got arms, so that would make him a dragon. Wyverns don't have arms.
Right. They just have the wings, because he's got the wing up here. Oh yeah, 1, 2. So that's a full dragon.
Yep.
He's got 4 legs.
Well, that's like in Skyrim when they scream dragon. I'm like, no. All the wing is a wyvern. He's not a dragon.
Yeah, that was the big argument when that game first came out. They're like, they're not dragons, they're wyverns.
Yep.
That game is actually why I learned the difference between dragons and wyverns.
Dragons are smarter, wyverns are a little dumber. And
aren't they like a subspecies of dragons?
They are.
Yeah.
Dragons kind of severely look down upon them, and they're like, oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Peasant in my fields, go cook my right,
Go gather my gold for me, boy.
Go gather my gold for me, boy. Go back to the mines. You know what? This weekend, maybe I'll do like $10 off the D&D books to get people in. How about that? We'll do that.
You heard it here first, guys. Dragon's Den Games and Hobbies, downtown Honesdale, PA. Did you say 10% or $10?
$10 off the D&D books.
$10.
I'll do dice at buy one, get one half off, and I'll do buy two, get one on the miniatures.
Tell them you saw it here on the NDT podcast. You get your discount. How about that? Sound good? Sound good.
Sounds great. Whatever you want to do.
All right, sweet. So honestly, Mike, I should see you this weekend at some point, I'm sure. Come down, hang out, chat a little bit. As for everybody else, we are live on Monday with the variety show, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's the next time that you can see us. Until then, guys, we will see you all later. Today's episode is sponsored by Dragon's Den Games and Hobbies. You can visit them at 552 Main Street in Honesdale, PA, or call them at 570-647-4633.